guys, it's your girl Victoria back to you with another review for Couples Retreat Season 3, Episode 3 called Back to Basics. So we're picking up where we left off last week with Kendra and Jock. They arguing what else, what else is new. So I guess Shamari overheard them arguing, so she comes to check over on Kendra. They go back, I guess, inside Kendra and Jock's hotel room and they sit down to communicate. So of course Kendra's ranting to Shamari about her dealing with Jock, and I guess in the past we find out that she was pregnant before, but she decided not to go through with the pregnancy due to not wanting to really be doing nothing with Jock. Now listen, if that's what she want to do, that's what she want to do. I'm wondering how does Jock feel about the situation. Shamari's kind of like, okay, but you still married him, because she's just going on and on. She's ranting, she don't want to have no kids with Jock, all the stuff he done did to her. But Shamari had a valid point. You still married the man, which to me, I feel like this. Why? So what's the point? So what are we dealing with here? Why are we still with him? Why are we still dealing with him if it's like you have nothing good to say about him? Like, we remember that one podcast or radio show where she pretty much just said, like, listen, I don't want to have no kids with you because I don't want, you to be their father knowing all the stuff you've been doing. So it's just like, you can't even have not one good thing to say about him. So what's the point of it being with him in the first place? There was no resolution that came with it. So for me, I'm just kind of like, okay, can we just move past this? Like, either you're going to be with him and you're not going to say nothing no more, or we just going to dead it. You know what I mean? So then in the next scene, we have a couple of the cast members. I don't know if they just had a night out at the casino or whatever the case may be, but they were laughing. You see Jalen in the corner talking. They saying something about like something demonic, evil, who cares? But for me, I'm kind of like, okay, this is cute, for what it is. We've seen that they're having a good time, so that's fine. Fallon and Jalen, they go meet up with AJ, and pretty much we get to the nitty gritty. Okay, AJ's not feeling respected by Fallon. Fallon, I don't take her as the type of person who to be respected no type of man, and she kind of agrees. She says she don't respect men because they don't respect her, so she don't like men, and that in turn she's projecting her feelings onto her daughter because she doesn't want her daughter to be trusting men or liking men. None of that case. And I'm just like, and you think this is okay? Does Jalen think this is okay? AJ's looking at her like, okay, you need to, find a way to heal yourself. And come to find out, just as Jalen said a couple episodes ago, even though we're only in the third episode, pretty much she hasn't been able to heal from her ex-marriage. So therefore, how can you move forward with a new relationship when you're still not over your last relationship? Not saying that you want to get back with homeboy, but you haven't really grieved the end of the marriage or kind of work through that healing process of being with him for 5 years to not in turn project all the bad stuff that probably happened with your last relationship putting into your new relationship. So AJ makes the suggestion, listen, both of you guys individually need to heal. So maybe we need to have a healing process first before getting into a relationship, be healing without currently being in a relationship. So maybe you guys need to split up or take a break. We don't get no answer from them because we just go to the next scene. But thank you, AJ. Valid point. This is, I think, one of the first time I've seen any life coach, therapist, or whatever that suggests maybe you guys don't need to be together. Because I feel like in every other show, every other couples type of thing, they're always kind of like, oh, okay, we're going to need to work this out. No. Maybe you just don't need to be together. And I really hope they realize that, and by the end of this, they just part ways. Obviously, they're still going to co-parent and all that stuff, but not in the point of, for themselves. I think it'll be best maybe if they do separate. All right, and then in the next scene, we have the couples. They're meeting up for a healing night with a hypnotherapist. Now, most of everybody pretty much, they wasn't here for it, so that's why they was playing games in this scene. Fallon wasn't there because I guess she just needed to take a mental break. That's fine. Jock and Kendra, they're still not talking. Who cares? And then while they was going through it, I guess Fallon was, not Fallon, Sharian. I still don't know how to say her name, even though Paula says Sharia, but I'm like, but there's like an N at the end of her name, so I don't know if that's silent. I'm going to get it before the end of the season. I'm going to get it, okay? Please bear with me. But anywho, she was actually falling asleep and getting into the whole process and the exercise. but I guess Apollo was feeling some type of way, so he was trying to wake her up. And when Tony confronts him on that, he was like, "Oh, I know more about her than the situation, so she don't need to be doing none of that." So Breezy called Apollo out and told him some truth. I didn't write down exactly what she said, but pretty much like, if she wants to do that, allow her to do that exercise. If she feels like it's going to better herself, allow her to do that. You just don't want her to do that because you're fearful that she may realize, okay, I don't need to be with homeboy, so she's going to leave you. And even Sharian was kind of like, I mean, that's some truth. Apollo saying no, that's not the case, but Sharia did let him know, listen, that was kind of disrespectful because I'm trying to do this and you're just trying to cut me off and wake me up and I couldn't even fully do the exercise. So he does apologize, but I mean, is it really going to change anything? Not really. He's just apologizing for the moment, but not to correct his actions and not do nothing different, I personally feel like. So what are we apologizing for? I don't know. But then we move on to before, while everybody's leaving the exercise, because the exercise was over, Jock falling asleep, snoring all over the place, Kendra trying to wake him up. So no one was really taking it serious. So by the time that they left, Breezy did pull Jalen to the side to talk to him. And pretty much after Jalen was telling Breezy about his relationship with Fallon, Breezy was just letting him know to trust himself and to be himself. And I'm just like, Breezy, are we the additional life coach? And I just feel like in these 3 episodes, Breezy has been telling some very good advice to everyone, which to me is like, Shamari and Ronnie, you guys are not the veterans. This is Breezy's first and only season on this show, and I feel like she gave way more great advice than you guys put together on this season and last season. So therefore, we may need to change who the real veterans of this show is. So then we move on to Jock and Apollo. They do a video diary. Supposedly Tiana and Fat Boy, they had a heated argument on the elevator. It was a little wild. Then we get a little video diary of Tiana saying she's tired of being disrespected. So then that's when it goes to, I think, commercial for dramatic effect. Anywho, I'm just like, okay, I can't take nothing really with these video diaries, so thank you for the information. But at the same time, it's like, I'm just gonna have to wait to see what happens in the episode because this gives me nothing. So then that's when we get to Fat Boy. He goes to Apollo to talk, and pretty much a girl done DM Fat Boy, and Tiana saw the DM and DM'd the girl back. And I guess the girl disrespected Tiana in one of the texts. So then I guess Tiana and the girl went back and forth on the DM. And come to find out, Fat Boy and Tiana, they met through DM. And he cheated on Tiana with girls through DM. So Apollo's just like, okay, well, if this is how you met your wife, of course you're going to feel a little triggered when you DMing girls or having girls DM you. And at the same time, you cheated on her with girls from DM. So of course she going to feel some type of way. So pretty much he's just letting Fat Boy know that he needs to be a safeguard for his wife. Fat Boy kind of agrees, but it's like it's not to the point where I feel like it's going to change anything. And for me, I'm just kind of like, okay, if it's not going to change anything, what are we doing here? What's the point of this conversation? I feel like they just put conversations on here just to maybe help us as the audience watching, but I don't feel like it's really going to change anything because at the end of the day, you saying this, but yet you still want to bicker with your wife later on when you're not validating her feelings or acknowledging the fact that you said thing that's her feelings that we're going to see at the end of the episode. So what are we doing? That's what I feel like with a lot of these shows. It's like, what are we doing? What's the point of this conversation? Is this really going to change anything? If it's not, then what are we wasting our time for? What are we wasting space on TV for just to see that you guys have real conversations? It's not real if it ain't going to change nothing. That's just my personal opinion. But then we move on to Jock. He visits AJ to have a one-on-one with her. And, he's getting comfortable, taking his shoes off, laying on the couch hugging the pillow. And, he said he always wanted to do that. And I'm like, okay, that was cute and funny for what it was, Jock. But, AJ didn't see no mind with it because she's like, oh, yes, get comfortable. So we get to talking about Jock and his relationship with Kendra. And I guess it got to a point where Kendra told Jock that she hates him because he does mention that, he was there for her and her mom when her father passed. But at the same time, after her father passed, she blamed him and saying she hated him because he wasted, not necessarily wasted her time, but took away time from her spending with her father. And even though in that moment I was like, Kendra, like I know you be in a moment, but like, dang, did you really have to say that? I had to think about it, and I had to be like, well, she probably in her mindset. I'm thinking this is what I'm thinking. In her mindset, she's just like, with all the stuff you do to me, you treat me like trash. You be having babies on me, all this stuff, even though supposedly they wasn't, together at the time because they was on a break. You doing all this stuff to me, and it's like I could have been using that time I'm spending with you while you making me look stupid out in these streets, when I could be with my dad spending that quality time before he passed. So I can understand that, but at the same time, Kendra, you still married him, Kendra. You be talking about you be making it seem you finding things out like on Living Hip Hop with the baby when you already knew prior to the thing, but wanting to act brand new in front of people, in front of cast members. So it's like I feel for you, Kendra, but at the same time, you still with him. It's one thing if you wasn't with him, then I can understand. Okay, yeah, that's messed up, but you still spending quality time with him. You still doing this, you still doing that. So at what point are we gonna try to move forward? Because I feel like you're not really trying to move forward. Like I understand you want him to acknowledge it and discuss this, but I feel like even after you guys discuss this so many times, you're not really moving forward. I mean, you may not be getting what you want from him, which is what AJ mentioned on here. Is like you're not giving her what she needs. You're not doing enough of what she needs. But at the same time, Kendra, I have to hold you accountable too, because you're still wanting to move forward in the relationship. And at what point are we gonna dead this conversation? I understand it's always going to be in the back of your mind because he's done it countless times, numerous times, but you still decide to stay with him. You still wanting to move forward in the relationship. So how are we going to move forward in the relationship when we're still stuck in the past? And I really feel like if they did have a serious conversation, any little argument that comes after, we're still going to bring up the past, because no relationship is perfect. There's going to be arguments, there's going to be disagreements. So at what point are we going to really just let it stay in the past? Because he already got the kid's already here, so of course we're going to have to deal with that. But can we move forward in a cordial manner? I don't know. AJ asks him, why is he married? Why is he married to Kendra? So then it goes to commercial for dramatic effect, comes back from commercial for dramatic effect. So pretty much Jock's answer is, they have the same morals and values. It matches. He don't say that word for word. I'm just paraphrasing. So then in turn, okay, we already talked about, I guess I spoke too soon. That's when he mentioned about Kendra hating him for taking time away from her father. But after that, we don't really get a resolution, because then we get Jock gossiping about Tiana and Fat Boy. So I'm like, how are you going to transit? First off, let AJ talk to Tiana and Fat Boy about what they got going on, because AJ going to find out anyway, because I'm pretty sure the producer's letting her know what's going on when she's not around. So don't, like, why are we gossiping? We're trying to focus on you and Kendra, not no Tiana and Fat Boy. So after that, I was just like, okay, I'm done. Then we move on to Sharian and Apollo. They're sitting down in their hotel room. I guess they bicker back and forth a little bit about when Apollo's going to do her feet, but Apollo decides when he's going to do her feet. And Sharian was just like, I'm just going to pick and choose my battles, because I'm not going to go back and forth, because he seems, pretty much it's Apollo's way or the highway. So she's just going to let him do whatever he wants. I think he touched her feet for like 2 seconds. Then they get to talking about the relationship. Does anything come with it? Not really. But they do discuss it, and that's it. There's nothing else to take from that scene. There's nothing else to take from that's it. I'm like, we could have just kept this whole scene out for the most part, because once again, if we're not working towards something, if we're not getting a resolution, what's the point of the scene? What's the point of the conversation? Then we get to the question of the week, where all the couples sit down, and on a lake or whatever the case may be. Question of the week is, what trauma in your past feels like it hinders your current relationship? And do you think you can heal and change from said trauma? So everybody kind of goes down the line. Did I write anything? No, come on, by now you know me. I'm not going to write down everything, because that's going to be too much. It's going to be a 55-minute review when the show is only an hour. No. And then second to last, we have Jalen. He actually invites the hypnotherapist over to do a one-on-one session, and it does get emotional on Jalen's side, and he does bring up past trauma. And when you think about his past, I'm not going to say it out on here, but he just walked in on his mom doing things with, we don't even know who the other person is. But for me, I'm just kind of like, for him, he was 5. So I'm trying to think, as a 5-year-old, I can imagine for him, it may be traumatic for a 5-year-old to walk in on their mom doing such things. So it's like, I feel for him, especially that he got emotional. It's like, I'm not gonna say it was nothing, because no, it is something. It can be traumatic for someone. So I'm sorry, Jane, that happened to you, but just as the hypnotherapist said, you are worth something. I don't really know you like that, but I can imagine you feeling helpless in that situation. And now with your relationship with Fallon, you kind of feel helpless, like you're doing everything you can, but at the same time, you're still not feeling respected. Like, as since you're the man and taking care of 7 people, I can understand that. Oh, okay, I completely understand, and I agree. Listen, if I'm not being respected, then what am I doing here? I always say that. What am I doing here? What are we doing here? What's the point of this? What's the point of that? So if that's the way you feel and you're expressing it to Fallon, and she's not really taking you serious because she don't respect you, because if she don't respect no man because they don't respect her, then maybe you need to separate, not to separate, but separate as in, we're done. We're just gonna co-parent. But that's for you guys to figure out. I feel like you guys still gonna stay together at the end of this, at the end of this whole season type of thing. So I don't know what to say after that. We then lastly get to Tiana and Fat Boy. She's still upset at Fat Boy. He comes to sit down next to her wherever she's at to talk about the situation, and he does apologize, but Tiana's still feeling some type of way because he called her stupid. So he's kind of just like, well, if I did, then I'm the apology. She's like, no, it's not if you did. So then they kind of go back and forth, and they don't really end up resolving anything. It ends up with Fat Boy just getting up and walking away. And I'm just like, okay, but you're going to have the conversation eventually. I get walking away if you need a breather, but I feel like it's just him not wanting to take any accountability for the things he's done did, because he's just going to come back with, well, she cheated on me too. But you cheated on her first, and you cheated probably on her multiple times. So, and you still got girls DMing you. I understand what he's saying. We public figures, people won't try to knock us down. But if you entertaining that stuff, that's not going to help the situation either. Because I don't know what you saying to the girls in the DMs to the point that they feel like they could be DMing you all comfortable and stuff. But at the same time, you need to make your account private. I mean, I guess you're a public figure, so you can't. But some of them do, Or if you see a DM, block the girl, because she already know that you married, so she already disrespecting your marriage. I don't know. That's just what I think. What do I know? I just focus on my relationship. That's it. But since I'm watching this and I'm reviewing it, so I got to put my little 2 cents in there. But other than, I don't know what these couples doing, and at the end of the day, they probably all gonna stay together. So we just talking just to talk and give our opinions and points. That was it. That was the end of the episode. It was a cute little episode. That was it. We're waiting for episode 4. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you laughed at least once, please subscribe. If you didn't laugh, please come back next week. Hopefully I can make you laugh. Please comment what you thought about the episode. Be easy breezy, lemon squeezy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.